Hi everyone, it's great to be back. I have been MIA for a while. Today I want to talk about how to make a presentation and what are some of the basic structures or organizational format of creating the most simple presentation. And I acknowledge this presentation format that I'm about to share with you is probably going to be most helpful for people who are, presenting a presentation for some kind of an information sharing or something like that, or content sharing. Mostly helpful to people like life coaches, inspirational speakers, motivational speakers, or even students who want to give a presentation to, a school or their teachers or something like that. But in the right, environment, I'm guessing it could be helpful to the companies who are launching new products or people who are just giving presentation in their own companies. So I call this 6 I's of presentation. And the reason I came up with the 6 I's is because I was at the presentation of my friend Brian Reeves, and he was giving a presentation about the 6 human needs, which we'll definitely talk about some other day. But while I was talking about the presentation, I rolled on with the presentation, and I remembered when I was a young kid and I had to give a presentation to a whole big company. I was scared to death. I had no idea what to say in the presentation, what content to come up with, or how to even organize, whatever I had to share with the, audience. So the 6 I's of presentation and I as an inspiration are as follows, and I'm hoping it will be some ways helpful to you when you create your next presentation. So the first is introduction. Very important. Always start with introduction. Be simple, be brief, let people know who you are, what are you up to, what is your company all about, what services you provide, and most importantly, how are they going to benefit from whatever you're up to and whatever you're creating right now in your company or in your product. Second most important I, intention. What is your intention of being here today? What is the intention that the audience is here today? What are you going to co-create together? What are they going to learn from you? Why is it that they're here, and why is it that the information that you're sharing with them is going to be valuable to them and for them, and in what areas of their life specifically is it going to contribute positively to make a difference. Number 3 is the most important part of the presentation, and I call it insight sharing, or you can also call it content. This is probably going to be more than 50% of your presentation, because this is why the audience is here for. And I call it insight sharing because whatever information, or we can call it information sharing, whatever information is coming up for you is basically, it's going to benefit your clients or the people who are there. It is the raw, authentic content that people are interested in. So share your content, be very specific about your content. Be very specific that your intention and your content are matching. Because basically your content sharing is coming from a place of your intention. Make sure that people are connecting to your content and they're relating to it. And how is the number 4, which I call it the invitation and interaction. It's very important that, you engage your audience in a way that the energy in the room is moving, that everybody's feeling present, everybody's feeling inspired or motivated, or everybody feels like they are a part of the room and it's just not boring just sitting at some lecture. I always feel like presentations that I have attended have been really more rich in whenever, I've been invited to share or have heard people sharing their stories, because we are human beings. We connect with other people when they share their stories, when they share their experiences, when they share what's going on for them. Another way of doing that is also interaction, which is, inviting your clients or audience to interact with each other. Ask them to form a dyad, ask them, engage them in a particular activity, ask them to, form a particular line and do something which is related to your content or something like that. But moving the energy in the room, bringing people together, do something that has, people interact with each other in a way that they would not have, maybe a small group or something, whatever it is. But definitely make sure that there's some kind of an interaction between the people so they feel already connected and they're part of this room. It's just not, somebody on the chair. Number 5 is inspiration. People are interacting, they're getting your content, they're really engaged into this. Throw at them some kind of an inspiration, stories, quotes, past experiences, or past experiences of people who've actually gone through a similar process, whatever your content is, and share with them like what happened with them when they changed certain aspects of whatever was going on before and what has been happening after, and inspire them that by doing what they're doing or by doing something else, what difference can it create in their life. Share with them what was your own personal experience about something that you're already sharing with them and how that moved you and shifted you into creating a bigger, better reality for yourself. People really connect with other people based on true stories and real experiences, because in all this world of fakeness, they are there because they want to listen to the authentic you. They want to get inspired. They want to get motivated. And you can motivate them in a million different ways. Like I said, quotes, stories, sharing experiences of other people. Actually, it would be also great if they shared their own experiences as a part of inspiration, to the group. The last part of the presentation I would be ideas. So you've shared your intention, you've shared your content, people are motivated, inspired. Yet at the end of every presentation, I guarantee you every person asks, so what did I get from this? What am I taking home today? And that's the idea. Share some powerful tools with your audience that they can take home, they can practice on a day-to-day basis, like a daily habit. If you're giving a presentation about simple pleasures of life, ask them that, hey, one of the practices you can cultivate is, make a gratitude note every day, or, do a random act of kindness every day, and do it in a way that is inviting and not challenging. Ask them, motivate them that, hey, this is what you can create in your life starting today, and make it a very simple, easy step that they can follow on a day-to-day basis and not feel overwhelmed or complicated, because that would be something they would be creating if they haven't already created in their life from like scratch. Once that is done, make sure that you always ask if they have any questions, or if there's any question they had during the presentation that did not get answered, and definitely answer those questions. So those are basically, I personally feel like, the most important parts of the presentation. I'll just go over with you, which is introduction, intention, insights sharing or information sharing, invitation and interaction, inspiration, and ideas. Also, some tips I would like to share for the presentation is always acknowledge the person who stands up and shares, because it takes a lot of courage for someone to stand in a room full of people and share. And when you acknowledge someone, it just builds something within them which is very connected and very relational to you. They get that they matter, that they're just not one person in the room, and as soon as they get that they matter, everybody in the room gets that they matter, and you instantly create this bond with your audience, which they get it. They instantly feel connected to you. One of the other ways that I have found also has been really great is acknowledge a person and acknowledge them, in a different way. Maybe, every time somebody answers a question, is courageous, give them a sunflower, give them a poem, give them a card, give them a note or something. Always acknowledge them. Acknowledgement never hurts. Simple details like make sure the room temperature is normal, it's not too hot, not too cold. Definitely make sure that you've done the sound check and the tech check. So many times we see that the mic goes off, the slideshow doesn't work, or just goes astray or whatever it is. 110% absolute sure. Make sure the mic and the sound works. One other thing also is it's always helpful to make a small announcement before the presentation, which is make sure your cell phones are turned off. I know so many times cell phones go off and it just totally misses the moment that we probably had to create in the presentation. So very simple, very minor details, but hopefully that helps. Also, always keep a notepad and a pen with you. Somebody might ask you a question and you might want to get back to them, and you might forget. So you might want to take a note and most important thing I feel is whenever somebody shares their name, try to remember their name. You never know during the presentation, at the end of the presentation, if they come up to you, somebody else comes up to you, or you want to come up with something, you don't want to sound like, oh, you didn't care about them and you didn't remember their name. Remember their name, so it would also create a bond, and it's always about them. And that's it. So thank you for listening, and hopefully this will be helpful in your next presentation.